Hey everybody, it's Dina Rico with the Creativity Cave. I'm so excited to share today's topic, which is tips and tricks for your big shot. Now, if you've been a stamper for a long time and you've been using a big shot for forever, you're really probably going to want to keep watching because I have a lot of great tips in here, even for those of you who are really seasoned. If you're new to big shots, hold on to your hats. Oh my gosh, the Big Shot is the most amazing machine and it can do the most incredible things. So let's get started. I'm going to come back to these cool projects and show you how to do them in just a little bit. A Big Shot has several different things that it does. First of all, it has what's called a Big's die. These are thick dies. They're about 3/4 inch thick, and they're plastic with foam, and then underneath this foam is actual cutting blades that will cut right through the cardstock when you run it through your Big Shot. Now, every time you use your Big Shot, sorry, I'm looking, I have these super cute little cards here. Hold on. Here they are. Every time you use your Big Shot, you need what's called a sandwich. Okay. And the sandwich is the way you put all the pieces together and run it through your machine. So for instance, for a Big's die like this, you're going to need a piece of plastic on the bottom. So these are cutting pads or cutting plastic, and you can see this is a brand new one. It's practically a virgin. I've run it through just once or twice, and you can see the little scratches in here. Okay. In contrast, this one has been used quite a few more times, though it's still pretty new, but you can see there's lots of cut marks through here. Okay, so to run this die through, all I would do is put a piece of plastic on the top and on the bottom, and my cardstock goes in here. So for instance, where did my cardstock go? So say I wanted to cut out just this shape in here, I would put my cardstock over that, put this on top, and crank it through my Big Shot, okay? And then my die would come out. So that's a Big's die. Here is a card that's been embossed. You can see this cool texture to your cardstock. It gives some dimension to the cardstock. It's really neat. The way embossing folders work are you're going to use what's called a multi-purpose platform. This comes with your Big Shot. And to use this, what you're going to do is, so you'll take the embossing folder, open it up, place your cardstock in here like so, and then close it. Okay, I usually score or fold my card first. You do not want to wrap this around. When you do that, you're going to lose some of the image, some of the design, and it also can rip your cardstock. So that's how you want to put it in here. Now, on this platform, there's different tabs. You want to use tab 1, and you can tell because it tells you the things that work with this. Place a piece of cutting plastic down, my card that's open with my embossing folder on top, and then another piece of plastic, and then this is I'm going to run through. Now, a couple things. First of all, I want to make sure that my embossing folder is not sticking out on the edge. If it sticks out like that, it's going to get kind of munched up, and you can actually see my folder has been kind of cracked a little bit from it being sticking out too far when you run it through your machine. You don't want that. In addition, it helps if you don't have everything butted up to the edge, such as this. All of this stuff is lined right up with the edge. So when I push it through my machine, so I'm pushing it through the machine, and if that's really a blunt edge, it's not going to want to cut. And if you ever have to force something through or push really, really hard, something's wrong. Stop. Don't continue. Okay, a better way of doing this is to back this off a little bit so that you have kind of a lead of plastic sticking out, and then it's skinnier. Okay, do you see how that went down further on that side, and it's thicker here? And so then it will gradually accept that thickness much easier. Okay, framelits come in all sizes and shapes. Here is a basic set. These are the Deco Labels. This is one of my favorite sets of Thinlits. And to use these, you can see there is a cutting edge on one side, and then it's completely flat and flush on the other side. So the cutting side is what you're going to want to have facing your cardstock. Okay, so this will be a similar sandwich as the others, but this time I'm going to be on my multi-purpose platform on tab 2. Okay, so before we had this tab open, but now we're going to close it and use tab 2. We need that thickness because this is really thin. Okay, now I also have an asterisk here, or I can use my magnetic platform. I will show you that in a minute, but for right now we're just going to use tab 2. Again, we'll build our sandwich just like the embossing folder, which is a piece of plastic underneath, a piece of cardstock on top, the framelit with the cutting edge down, and then our plastic on top. Okay, is after you've used these plates quite a few times, they really get well loved. In fact, so well loved that they can develop cracks in them. If you look at this plate, it's got a couple of cracks. There's a crack right here going across, another one right here, and then obviously it broke right here. This can be dangerous. If you get cracks in your plates, stop using them immediately. Do not use them. The reason that is because when you're putting this through your machine, you are putting a lot of pressure through, and this can literally break off and shoot out, and it could hurt you. I've seen it happen before. If you have a crack in your plate, it means it's time to replace it. Get some new fresh ones, okay? Like my virgin one. Ooh, so nice. Oh, this makes me really excited because it's just, look, you can see all the way through it. You can't see through this. Look at that. All right, so anyway, dangerous, bad. Okay, so here's a plate that's pretty new. You can see I can still see my hand really well through this. However, it got used a whole bunch of times right in the center. So whatever was being die cut with this was all getting cut kind of right here in the center. The plate kept getting used over and over and over right here. To prevent this warping, and you can see it's a pretty good warp. I'll hold these together. Do you see that huge bulge? That sounds dirty. Just that huge warp, we'll say. Oh my gosh. Anyway, it is not good for die cutting. In fact, it won't want to die cut very well. To prevent this warping, what you need to do is when you run dies through, change up where you're putting it on the multi-purpose platform and where it hits your plastic pieces. Okay, so maybe the first time you run it through over here. The next time you run it through over here. The next time you run it through up here. You flip your plastic over. You run it through over here. You run it through back here. Okay, so you're moving your dies around every single time. That prevents this warping from happening, and it will work much, much better. You want to keep your plates as flat as can be. How intricate Thinlits. These are kind of new. They came out last year with a set of framelits that included these butterflies that are just gorgeous. And you can see there's all kinds of pieces that get cut out of the butterfly. We also have a really gorgeous heart called the Bloomin' Heart, and that's where this card came from. And look at all the little pieces that have to fall out of this. So one of the things that you can use with this is something called a precision base plate. And what that works with, now I mentioned the magnetic platform. One thing I love about the magnetic platform, it takes place of the multi-purpose platform. You still need it so that you can do embossing folders. You can't do embossing folders on this, but what it will allow you to do is say you have something that you're trying to cut the image out. So you're trying to line it up. Do you see how that clicks on? The magnet holds it in place so that it won't move on you when you run it through. It also allows for you to cut multiple pieces at once, and then you don't have to worry about them moving around. Now, the next thing we have that's new, this came out over Christmas time, the holiday catalog, was this precision base plate. You can see it right here. This is for cutting those intricate dies like those butterflies and that heart I showed you. Now, to do this, it shows you the picture on the back, but let me show you. You're going to place this face cutting side up so that diagram goes down. This is metal. There's not a lot of give in it like there is in plastic, so it cuts better. And when I run my sandwich through, it's going to be the magnetic plate right here, the precision base plate, Then I will put my cardstock down, my intricate die, and then another piece of plastic, okay? If I look at this butterfly, I can see it's over kind of a wide swath. If I turn this 90 degrees and run it through this way, it's a narrower swath, and that will actually allow for the pressure to hit each of those points a little stronger because it's divided over a skinnier section of pressure. And if you want a more rocket science-y explanation of that, I can get my husband out and explain it to you. But all right, now another thing I put on the very top of this is an optional shim. All Big Shots are a little bit different, and if you have a Big Shot that isn't quite cutting this out, stick a shim on top. This is just a piece of cardstock right on top of the whole thing and then run it through. That will give you just that cardstock's width of extra pressure, and it will help cut through really well. Okay? Okay, so I've taken that butterfly, I've run it through my Big Shot a couple of times, which basically means I ran it through and then I backed it out, okay? I can see it has pretty much cut through everything. You can see there, it's definitely cut, but I can see right here it might not quite have gone all the way through. So what I'm going to do is kind of line that up. You'll find the die just sort of fits in place, okay? And then I'm going to change positions on my platform, and I will set my plastic right on top again, and then I'm going to add a shim of cardstock. This is just an extra piece on top. I'm going to crank it through one more time. The thing we have that coordinates with that precision base plate is the new die brush. It's called the Big Shot die brush. So what you're going to do is leave the die right on top of your paper, and you're going to roll over it. And what's going to happen is you can see the pieces are coming out. So this brush is really firm, and you roll over it, go over and over and over it. You can see those pieces are loosening up. And then when you pick it up, hopefully, most of them will have fallen out on their own. Oh my gosh. Yay! Oh my gosh. You have no idea what joyous thing this is. Because before, we would have to literally poke out each one of those pieces, and then you kind of wanted to pull all your hair out and poke all your eyes out. This is such an awesome solution. Okay, it's worth the investment. And then what's delightful is all those little pieces stick on here. You tap them into your garbage, and then they're pretty much gone. Just a few left. Isn't that awesome? Okay, one more thing about this precision plate. If you're using a die that has score lines in it, for instance, this is a circle flip card or something like that. I can't think of the name, but this is going to score right here and then cut everywhere else. And then it creates this flip card. Boom. Okay, you do not want to use this on the precision plate because it is really good at cutting, and it can cut here where it doesn't want to be cut. And so rather than a score line, it can cut all the way through. So you want to use that with just your magnetic plate and your plastics, not the precision plate. I hope this has shown you a ton of stuff. I hope it's given you some really good ideas and tips for using your Big Shot and getting the most out of your investment. It is an investment, but I think it is so worth it. I use my Big Shot on almost every single card that I make. So anyway, please go to my blog, thecreativitycave.com. The link is in the description of this video, and you can see all the amazing projects with tip sheets and these little sandwich cards for each one, and then some do's and don'ts. So check it out. Thank you so much for your support. If you need to order anything, if you need a Big Shot, if you're ready to take the plunge, please consider ordering from my blog. I have a great rewards program for my customers, and I'd love to invite you to be a part of my Creativity Cave VIPs. Thanks so much, guys. Bye-bye. Happy stamping.